back after it. Look, I made it. 2 weeks. Back on schedule. Told you I'd get there. So, hope you liked the last video. This one, getting back after it. So, we're going to take and turn this, a $40 old busted ass air compressor into a usable air tank. We built a really dope truck. We built a really dope air suspension, but now we got to power it. So this is kind of the heart of the air system, and we're going to get going on this thing. I'm going to show you how we're going to put all these bongs and everything in it and turn $40 into, I don't know, I don't think you can buy a 25-gallon tank. Maybe you can. Either way, this is how I did it. So here we go. Well, here on the workbench, you see I got my wood setting this thing up so it'll hold it from rolling around. I used my port on top right here to make sure this is set dead level, same way as I have on the truck. That way, kind of use that as my point of reference. Now remember, we got to cut this guy out right here, and we lucked out that it is pretty much exactly the width of this piece of metal that I want to cut out and weld into the tank. So that brings us to the dilemma of how do you figure out exactly, how do you lay a straight edge on something from the ground and get an accurate measurement when it's round? So I've been staring at this for the last 20 minutes or so. This is what I've come up with. So what I did, you see I got this angle, the square, taped to the side of the tank. I took my angle finder, I put it on the side, I worked it in until it read dead reckoning at 90 degrees. So then I took this guy loose, I loosened it up, and I just slowly slid it in. Obviously it hits the top of it right there. But I slowly slid it in and worked it against it where it was holding nice and flat, and then I marked on the tank right here exactly where that marking was. So now my plan is to go down here and make another mark, that way I can put a straight edge against it, and that gives me something good that I can measure from to make a good straight line all the way across there. Then I can measure from that straight line to get to the top side for my other line of what I want to cut out. I said a line a bunch of times, hope y'all understood that. As I work on it, hopefully it'll kind of come together for you a little bit more. Like I said, I've been staring at it for quite a few minutes now, trying to figure out the exact easiest way to do it. So now we just got to set this up, and I'll do it, and let's see how I did it for this other end down here. There. Now, is it perfect? Hell no, it ain't gonna be perfect. But at least I got something to go by. It should be pretty close. So now I'm gonna make my straight line right here. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna measure up from there the distance that I need to get this cut out. I can always open up the size of my plate a little bit if I need to, if this extends up just a little bit farther than what I wanted. But that pretty much should hit us right at the base of this. So then we'll come up here to the top of it. So next move now is we're gonna make a straight line here, and I'm gonna cut this thing out. I hear a lot of trash and crap rattling around inside that tank every time I move it. So what I think I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna go ahead and blow it out with a plasma cutter and see if I can clean some of the trash out of it. That way it'll stay out of my air system. That's the thing with the tank this old, God only knows how much crap is inside it. So I guess I'm about to grind off a little bit right here, so my plasma cutter will get a good ground, so I can make good connection to cut that out, get my straight line made, and then it'll be time to start figuring out where our plate's gonna go and get our plate cut. Alrighty then. So we got our hole cut in the side of our tank. We got our piece made right here. I did go ahead and set it up there and had to file a little spot or two to kind of get it where it would fit just perfectly the way I wanted, but fits great and I'm very happy with it. So now we just need to transfer all these little spots where we got to drill holes to put our bungs in. This is my bung right here. It's just a little steel bung. I ordered them from McMaster Car about, well, I don't know, 5 years ago. They've been sitting in a box since then, so whatever. So first thing we got to do, we got to find the center on this guy right here, which should be 1.5 inches, which is right yonder. Over here, right yonder. Now we'll go ahead and get our line drawn. Ooh, where'd that little line go? There it is. And down here, there it is. I always laugh to myself because, you know, I do try hard to you know, get things to be as exact as I can, but things are never really that exact. It's always an approximation, which, I mean, I do the best I can. Now let's see if I can remember what this is. All right, 1.5 inches from the first mark, then 3 inches of separation between them. So we go 1.5 inches is 1. All right, so now we're just gonna go in 3-inch increments from there. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, and then it finishes out. Got 1.5 inches left over. So it worked out nicely. So now I got to looking, and at first I was thinking maybe hole saw, when it occurred to me that I don't actually have a drill bit that's this big. And I thought maybe hole saw, but then I thought, man, hole saws make a really sloppy hole. Like, you know, you get a 1-inch hole saw, but you'll wind up with like a 1 1/8 or 1 3/16 hole because the damn thing walks around and they just cut a bigger hole than they're supposed to. And I remember that I had this Klein Unibit right here, and you know, with this only being 3/16, I think if I go slow with it and I put some of that super duper drilly squirty stuff on it that I've got, I think I should be able to drill these pretty good. So we're gonna go over and center punch these guys, and I'm gonna go drill them, and hopefully it comes out smoothly. I haven't decided yet how I want to drill it. I have to go all the way through it, so my little drill press is not gonna get the job done, that's for sure. Not with going up to 1 1/8 inch and drill bit size. I don't really want to hand drill it. I don't know. I'll figure it out though. All right, so I have decided to go with the Unibit and a hand drill. Into trash can on the side of the workbench. So I think this will either be a booming success or a spectacular failure. So, I mean, I don't know, it might be okay. I think this one will probably be a little easier than this one. I should probably pull it in just a little bit. I got my rag up here, that way maybe it won't splash too much stuff on my bench. I mean, it's sealed, but still. So, wish me luck. Dang! Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Yes, sir. All right, well, I'm gonna get to work doing the other 5 now, and we'll see y'all in just a second. All right, so as you can see, I ran over the plate and just kind of knocked the top off of everything with the grinding wheel. I didn't really take any material off. I just used like a little flat disc to kind of polish it up. And I went around, all of my bungs, kind of just made sure they had a good clean surface to weld to. I laid down this piece of metal so it's nice and flat. These bungs fit perfectly in that hole. I mean, it was the perfect size hole. So, lay them down this piece of steel. I clamped this piece down to it so it's nice and flat. Push these all the way down and lock them down good on that piece of steel, because the goal is to tack them down. That's not going enough. So the goal is I want to go down, I want to put 2 tacks on each one of these to hold them nice and flat. Then we'll flip it over and we'll weld them in good on the back side. Now, normally I would be a big fan of tacking it all together and test fitting it all before final welding it, but in this particular case, I can't put it on the tank and tack it in, and then, I mean, I don't know, I guess I could put it together and then go stick it back. It's just a lot of handling if I do it that way. I may still tack the plate on there, but I feel pretty good that this is how I want to do them. These bungs were not that expensive, so I guess if I screw the deal up, I'll have to buy new bungs and cut another piece of steel. For right now, that's my plan. We're gonna go, we're gonna tack it, all of these from the face side, we're gonna flip it over, and I really wish there was something I could stick in there to protect the threads so no spatter gets down in there, but I don't know, I might see if I can find a bolt or something that kind of I could stick in there just to kind of keep spatter from jumping down on the threads. So we're gonna get them all tacked, and then we're gonna stick them up on the tank, and I think I might just kind of put a tack on each end of it, because still got to figure out where I want to. You remember we had to cut that one big bung out of it, which I was going to use as the fill port. So I need to put this back on there with these tacked in place, make sure all the angles are right like I want it, figure out where that bung is going to go. Then we should be ready to put that bung in and weld this guy in place. So I'm going to get to tacking. Okay, so you see we got our tank stuck back down here in place, and I did go ahead and stick my plate up in here. I'm pretty satisfied with how it worked out. My valves are kind of coming up at an angle. I was thinking maybe I might be able to get like a 45 and put on them. I don't know that that's gonna work. I don't know, it might not. I'll just have to kind of work that out when it comes down to it. I like where they are because they're gonna be out of harm's way, kind of protected by both brackets, so hopefully I don't have to worry about anything popping up off the road or anything and hitting them and messing them up. As far as kind of positioning them, I've got some fittings. I got a couple of ideas of what I want to do. just gonna kind of have to figure that out, you know, burn that bridge as I come to it. So we got, this is gonna be where I'm gonna put the fitting in for an air hose. So I've got a bung left over because we've got to figure out where we're gonna bring in our feed line from the compressor. Now, if you remember, that was what was right here. Originally, I had thought maybe I'd use this hole in the frame, but now the parking brake cable is kind of in the way and we had to cut that out anyhow. So what I did is I measured from the edge of this cut right here to the center of the hole. I went ahead and I marked that right here as well. So what I'm thinking is I'm gonna put this bung in right here because there is enough room where I could come straight over the frame and tie the main feed line in right here, and it'll be out of the way of the valves. All of the air lines are gonna be coming in right down through here anyway, so it should be all good for that as far as that goes. So that's my plan now. So I'm gonna pull this back out from under here. We'll go back up to the workbench and we're gonna drill this hole, get this bung welded in. We're gonna go on and then I'll vacuum the inside of the tank out. I've already vacuumed it out 2 or 3 times to clean some of the just rust and crud and crap out of it that was in there, plus the shavings and things where I cut this out. So once we drill this, obviously it's gonna put a bunch of metal and stuff down in there. We'll suck all that up out of there. We'll get this guy welded on. Then, like I said, we'll tack our plate in. Really, I mean, I guess I'll just go on and weld the damn plate in, and then that way when we come back, we'll be able to, well, I guess actually, once I weld it in, I'm gonna run to Home Depot and I'm gonna go buy me a whole bunch of pipe plugs to put in this. And it'll be time to put some air in this thing and make sure that everything holds air nice and tight, and I don't have to go over and re-weld everything. And then if that's all fine and dandy, then it'll be time to strip it off and paint it, I guess, because well, everything mounted to it. Well, I didn't realize it was actually that close, but we actually are. So I'm gonna get this thing out from under here and we'll throw it up on the workbench and get it welded up. Man, that's pretty cool. I didn't realize we're that close. Ugh. Well, my plan was to try to weld it all the way across these long welds in one long continuous bead. The thought process was that if I did it that way, there'd be less chance that I have maybe a little pinhole or something where I could have an air leak. But as I went across here, the tank wanted to warp in a bit, and I didn't tack it ahead of time because I thought maybe it would hold. The tank warped in on me, so I tried to come over and throw a couple tacks right here, Well, then of course, as I was welding along, I kind of hit a cold spot, so it kind of made a boogery looking area right there. I'm probably going to take a grinder and hit that high spot on each one of them little areas right there. That one little spot right there. I'm not going to go crazy, just going to kind of knock them down just a little bit. Y'all know I don't spend a whole lot of time grinding. I'm going to blow some air through it and probably get like a little pick tool. Make sure those threads are somewhat clean-ish. Try to cool this guy down a little bit, then it'll be time to go on and start screwing stuff into it with some Teflon tape and whatnot to seal it up and see if it'll hold some air pressure. So maybe with a little luck it'll hold up good. I kind of wish I would have rolled the tank up so this weld would have laid a little flatter. This one laid pretty flat. I would have liked for this one to have laid just a little bit flatter, but that's how it goes. At some point in time it's going to be underneath the bed anyway, so whatever. As long as it seals up good, I'll be pretty happy. I mean, you're gonna have a bunch of valves and stuff right here anyway, so whatever. So I'm gonna blow this thing and try to kind of clean it up just a touch, and then we come back, it'll be time to put some fittings in here, some plugs and stuff in here to put some air in this thing, see if it'll hold up. Okay, so as you can see, I got some planning to do. So, forgive my terrible Tony Montana accent. All right, so, you know, in the last video, we got the plate and all the little bungs, we got them all welded in. I would love to tell you that I welded it and then I capped everything off and I pressure tested it and everything sealed up fantastic and all the welds were beautiful. And then I was able to just take it and paint it, and that's where we are today. That would be a damn lie. So, basically, you know, I knew when I tried to put a couple of tacks here and there on this thing that, you know, a tack is just what it is. It doesn't get a whole lot of penetration. It's just really just there to just kind of barely hold it till you can come back with your full weld. And unfortunately, because, you know, I come back through and I weld over top of them and I burn through them, but still you do have that tiny little spot there where maybe you didn't quite get penetration as good as you wanted. It happens, you know. So basically in several of the areas where I welded it, where I tacked it, I had to come back through. When I pressure tested it, basically I went through, I put plugs in everything except for right here. Then I put a valve on it. I pressurized it up to 140 PSI and then I spray it with soapy water, and basically anywhere that it bubbles is an air leak. It's tougher than you might think to just weld it up and get it perfect with no air leaks. I mean, I'm a good welder, but hey, things happen, you know. So basically I went back over. I did have several air leaks, just small ones, nothing huge. You know, like I had one right here, I had a little tiny one right here, a little tiny one on the corners right here, then a couple on a few of the bungs. So I went over with a grinder and I cut those welds back down and re-welded them. And, you know, luckily re-welded them, and the second time through, they were good. Everything sealed up great. And it was about midnight by the time I finally got done with that. And so the next day I just took it to work with me because I'm just chomping at the bit. You know, this thing's getting close now and I'm just really wanting to get it done. I want to drive it. It's been such a long time coming, and I'm ready. You know, I am ready. So I took it to work and I stripped all that old ugly red paint off of it because I can't have anything red or anything even red over top of it on my truck. It just ain't gonna happen. So I spent, you know, a good bit of time when I was at work stripping this thing down. Didn't make any money that day. They got it stripped down and I got the painter to do me a solid while I was at work. He went ahead and base coat, clear coated it for me in black, you know, nothing special, just shot it black so it looks like everything else. So now we are to where we are today. Now, ready to start assembling it. Now, I can hear lots of little random sediment blowing around inside it. I'm sure it'll probably be fine because all my valves come out the top. That stuff should stay at the bottom. But I am gonna go ahead and kind of blow through it real good and try to blow as much of that crap out as I can. Like I said, I don't know how old this thing was. I bought it off Facebook Marketplace. I did get inside it with a wire brush and scrubbed and cleaned and vacuumed as much of it out as I could. But throughout the welding process and just beating it around, some other crap has broke loose in there. It is what it is. So, bring us to current. Still, I'm gonna go through and blow some more stuff out of it, but we are ready to start assembling it. Now, I use Teflon tape whenever I stuck it together just to seal it up, just for ease of use. I'm honestly not a big fan of Teflon tape. I mean, I know how to wrap it where, you know, when you screw it in, it goes right and it doesn't just, you know, unwrap the tape. I've just never been a huge fan. I do know that it works. I've used it for years and years and years and years and years. But I think on this, I'm not going to use Teflon tape. I'm actually going to use Loctite thread sealant. I've used Loctite thread sealant and I've used pipe dope before. Both of them work really, 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 really good. And I don't have to worry about things backing back loose. And once that stuff gets hard, man, it is sealed. It ain't gonna just randomly decide to start leaking down the lane. So that's where we are right now. I'm gonna blow this thing out real good, and then I'm gonna go ahead and put my drain on the bottom. I'm gonna flip it over, that way I've got all these valves to all these open bungs to the bottom, and I'm gonna try to blow it out some more, see if I can blow a little bit more of this trash out of it. Then I'm gonna go on and put the first fittings in it right here, just because while I got it on the workbench, it's just easy to work on it right here. Then we'll go to the truck and try to get her all strapped up in place, which I'm pretty excited about. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock out these couple little things right quick, and then we'll go over here and we'll stick this thing on the truck. Well, I don't think that could have turned out much better. I mean, yeah, I could have probably prettied up like the welds around the plate in there maybe a little bit better, but I'm stoked. It came out great. I've got a very, very small amount of money tied up in that. Like I said, 40 bucks for the thing originally. I think that's what I paid for it. I don't know, it's been a long time ago. But 40 bucks for the thing originally, couple bucks to buy those bungs, and you know, we're ready to go. Now, like I said, a lot of the stuff I did is not difficult, but a lot of people hadn't thought of it yet, because a lot of people have looked at it and go, that's a good idea right there. So, hope you thought it was a cool idea. Hope you liked the video. I'm still learning my new editing software. Let me know how y'all think the video flowed, if it went together good. Doing the time-lapse stuff, it looks way different, and it's a lot. I actually like the software different, but there again, I'm an analog man in the digital world. It takes me a long time to figure out where everything is in that software to get it to do what I want to do. And it's got a lot of cool functions that I just haven't figured out how to use just yet. And hopefully, I'm going to try to work on it a little bit and hopefully make the viewing experience just that much more better. So if you see things you liked, post in the comments. If you see things you don't like, post that in the comments too. I'm good either way. You know, I like interacting with all y'all. So if you like the build, come back, watch another one. If you liked it enough, I hope I earned a subscription from you. Click that little bell, and we will see you in the next one.